We also see Maurice not really telling the truth a lot.
Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do. If someone is defaming character, Maurice's character, he has every right to go the distance legally. And I don't think the age has anything to do with it. You're saying that she's over 90. So what?
So then sue every single person who's doing it. Not the 90-year-olds who can't defend themselves. That's pointed.
Him not even doing it the right way, him doing unauthorized subpoenas, in his own words being fictitious. That's wrong. You can admit that, right? He didn't even go the proper legal route. You can admit that's wrong, right?
I'm not gonna answer that.
Okay. Hello, inmate. How are you, Mitch?
Oh my God.
You in the cell with Miss Karen Hugo? It looks like it.
I love that we're in orange and black. I love it.
Hey everyone, it's your bro, Mitch Kimbro, and you're watching Bro Chat, where me and my bros debate some of your favorite topics. We're talking all about Karen Huger and Maurice Scott. So bros, we saw Karen from Real Housewives of Potomac and Maurice from Love Marriage Huntsville arrested for DUI charges. Maurice's charges were dropped, while Karen is facing a 1-year prison sentence. But what's interesting to me is that Karen checked herself into a rehab facility and ended up skipping the Potomac reunion, while Maurice attended the Love and Marriage Huntsville reunion and took all the questions. In the midst of a DUI, do you think it's better to attend the reunion like Maurice or skip the reunion like Karen?
Well, I think that she should have confronted the reunion. I think that even the judge gave her more time because she didn't really go to a rehab from what I read. What I read, it was like a spa and she was only there for 48 hours. So for me, and the judge was mad about it too. So I'm like, for me, it felt like an excuse to not sit there and face them and deal with the fact that she lied to them and told them that she was innocent. And I love the Grand Dame, but I don't think she wanted to face them. Karen wanted to control the narrative. So she was taking control of the narrative by not showing up and sending in 2 video messages. Because if you're going to do 2 video messages, and they were, in my opinion, and I love the girl, kind of in poor taste. The first one kind of felt like a mother talking to their daughter in a really weird way. And then the second, it was just no. She should have sat there. She should have taken all the questions. Erica did it. Teresa Giudice did it. She can do it. Teresa Giudice did it within 3-day period. She got sentenced. She did a special with Andy and then did the Jersey reunion.
Jen Shaw did it.
Yeah, Judge Shaw did it. She didn't show up to the last one, remember? She skipped the last one. She skipped the last one. She showed up to the first one with the charges, but she didn't show up after she was before she was
because I remember Andy asking her questions about it, but it was okay.
Yes, it was the one that she first got, and then the second one she didn't show up. I think when you don't show up with things like that, it makes you look worse. I think it makes you look more guilty than you probably are, even though in this case we know how terribly guilty she was. I do believe that it does make you look more guilty because you should be able to stand there and just control and say how it was if it really wasn't like that.
Damien?
It also gives the other housewives, an excuse to paint the narrative. They can say what they want to say about you or whatever. I think it's different on a case-by-case basis because depending on what the charge is, what you're being arrested for. Because I know for me, if that were me, my fear would be whatever I say is going to be used against me. And if my attorneys are advising me, hey, I would not do this, I probably wouldn't. So, but then again, there's like Eric was just saying, there are housewives who have went and they have faced the music. But I do think when it comes to Maurice and Karen, it's 2 very crystal clear, different cases. And even though they're both DUIs, they're different situations. Because I'm more, even though a DUI is horrible, no matter who you are and no matter how many times you get one, I'm going to be more out to forgive someone who's had 1 DUI versus 4. I think I speak for a lot of us Ladams out there, a lot of us fans of Karen's. I'm very disappointed in her. You're 61 years old. 61, not 21, not 31. I would even give you grace at 51. And I don't want this to sound like age shaming, but your daughter Raven is in college right now, living her best life, thriving. You would think the daughter would be the one out here, acting a fool, getting DUIs, but your daughter's out here showing you up, Karen, living her best life. And you're out here drunk, getting DUIs. And did y'all see part 3 of the reunion where she told on herself and said someone was in the car with her and they fled on foot? And she's like, I don't know why they get out of the car and flee. And then Ray said, wait, your bodyguard was with you? Ray had no idea. I feel like she has everything that she's worked for the last 8-9 years on this show. She's torn down. Like
I agree.
Her legacy, I guess you could say, it's gone to over alcohol. Like, this is not good.
I think what Karen should have done, oh my God, why did you not take the plea deal? The 6-month community service plea deal? I think she should have taken the plea deal. But I do think at that point, that was the best course of action to potentially not indict herself anymore and give herself more time. Where Karen was at the time being her 4th DUI, it kind of like what Damien was saying. What are you going to get? What you're saying further can incriminate you. And I think at that point, especially with the way Karen has her presence on the show, I definitely think she would have further incriminated.
Can I challenge you? I'm not the...
And even had
because she was already filmed. She was already filmed, and she already said incriminating things while being filmed. So I feel like she had nothing to lose. I agree with you. I understand what you're saying, but I think that she really should have just did it. She filmed and said really incriminating things while she was filming. She kept saying she wasn't innocent. Guilty.
I think there were more things that could have been potentially more damaging.
I can see that.
Maybe even about her relationship and the situation with the bodyguard.
I think that's what she was scared to come out.
And I think she made I'm happy that she's admitting she has a problem now and accepting the sentence. I'm wondering if she's going to change this person. I think she is. I think she's admitted that she's had a problem. And I think after this year, because prison, she's not going to have any wigs. She's not going to be able to have, be the grand dame.
She barely had one in that thing. It was running away from her.
Is she in prison or jail?
People magazine reports that it's a prison sentence.
Prison sentence. This is anything more than a year, you should be. Anything about a year, you should be in prison. And I think the judge saw that she went to not a rehab facility. That it was this is what everybody's been talking about. It's been it was somewhat of a spa, from my understanding.
Well,
the judge even said
this recovery program, it involved a brochure. It had a brochure.
Why are you so offended?
A brochure. Because I think that
for a lot of programs like AA and stuff. Come on.
She went on vacation for a month.
But that's funny. We're talking about West Palm Beach. We're talking about the beach. I think this was more of I don't want to call it a vacation, but I don't think that it was what the judge had in mind.
Let's call it what it was, a stunt. It was a stunt. It was a stunt queen pulling a stunt. My God, Karen is queen of the stunts. That's why we love her. That was a stunt queen. She was pulling a stunt there.
Karen described this as a meaningful journey. And I don't understand why this meaningful journey didn't happen after the arrest. After the arrest, I would have been like, wow, how amazing would it have been to see her start this meaningful journey, this recovery program after the arrest. I think that the judge would have looked at that much differently.
Very differently.
And I think that she should have also, to the point that Victor raised earlier, to accept that plea deal of the house arrest with the ankle bracelet. I think that would have been a better choice.
What was she thinking?
And then also, I don't understand, let's be real. You can't call yourself the Grand Dame and your husband, Black Bill Gates, and you don't got a driver of some sort. You can't get from point A to point B without driving.
But that's the thing, Eric. Apparently, there was somebody driving her.
But she was driving, so she had to have. She was driving. She got a DUI.
That's the tricky part, though. I don't mean to sound like a conspiracy theorist here, but did someone flee the scene? She was in the driver's seat. But I'm like, does that play into why she kept pleading not guilty? But I don't know. Something's weird there.
I think that when you struggle with a substance abuse, you get your mind and your reality to skew. I really think, like, even you see the video, she was really playing into that Grand Dame's character. She was really thinking she was untouchable. She kept saying it multiple times.
Yeah.
Girl got out the car and said, "I'm lit," which hilarious, but also not hilarious. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
like it's funny, but not really funny at all.
Right,
Because
right.
that's not cool. Like, girl, you are rich enough to get you a Uber X at least. You can't get an Uber Black, girl. For real, you can't afford the Uber Black. Like Andy said, I know what you get paid on the show. I know you can afford an Uber Black. Come on.
The more I think
do
about
think
it,
that, yeah.
I think that if Karen did attend this reunion, she would have continued to avoid accountability. She would not have
Yeah.
answered the questions.
I don't agree with
so
that.
it's almost
I don't
as
agree with
if
that.
let me finish the point that I'm raising. It's almost as if she did attend, I don't think that she would have answered any questions. So it's almost like
I
the
do.
same outcome. The same outcome. We got nothing. She wasn't there. And if she was there, I think we still would have gotten
Wait.
nothing.
You remember she is at the reunion, and that beautiful white frame that is Ashley put at her bunions. Can we? I'm sorry, just had to say that Miss Karen was in attendance.
Out of the two of them, I do have an opinion on who I think responded better. If I'm allowed to go into that, Mitch.
Yeah.
I definitely think Karen's response, opposed to Maurice's response, has been less aggressive. I think with Maurice's response to his specific case, when Melody was questioning Maurice was really defensive, and then he kind of went to Martell, someone who's done revenge against Melody.
Yeah, revenge corn.
Revenge corn. Someone who done revenge corn to her, and someone who has been abusive. And he went to Martell and other people and said he doesn't think Melody is happy. He implied that Melody hasn't been happy since she was with Martell, and he said that when she's doing her lives, when she's out with the kids, it's happy moments, but it's kind of faking it. It's not really happy. It's an image. It's a persona. I think to put that narrative out was very disparaging, but it doesn't stop there. We also see there have been online content creators who have been talking about Maurice, and Maurice's response has been to sue them. He's been suing these people, suing these content creators. One of the people who he sued was Black Titanic, who is an elderly content creator in her 90s, and he sued her, and not only sued her, but he sent unauthorized subpoenas to get access to her personal information.
Okay, you're mentioning this because
I'm talking about who I think responded better to the situation.
so you're talking about a lawsuit and a subpoena that dealt with
Maurice.
And Maurice's
Maurice was responding.
How's that deal with the DUI?
Because it was the people who were talking about the DUI. Maurice.
Okay.
Sorry. Let me just put the context. Yeah, the people who were speaking about the DUI content creators online, Maurice legally tried to use his law school education to intimidate them, to get unauthorized subpoenas, to get access to their personal information. Sending those unauthorized subpoenas, it was made up, the claims that he was talking about, it wasn't authorized, and in the case, he claimed that wasn't authorized. Another thing that came in the case is there was an attorney who stepped in who has a connection to the CIA and the FBI, and Maurice allegedly changed his name Maurice Jefferson Scott, used to be Maurice Rasheen Scott, and apparently Maurice Rasheen Scott allegedly has 29 criminal arrests.
Okay.
Don't get a lawsuit on us now.
Okay, put a button on whatever it is that you're going to add when we circle around.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as I was saying, Maurice legally recognized his conduct as fictitious. He's legally recognized it as fictitious, not being orderly conduct, and that's legally recognized in the case. And I think to try and intimidate legally the elderly content creators, try and put that narrative on Melody, it's a very aggressive response to being questioned. So
Okay.
I think at least Karen didn't proceed in that fashion.
But I disagree with what Victor said about Maurice. Because I think that when we talk about Maurice,
Okay.
the way he handled the questions and the interrogation related to his DUI, I think Maurice handled it beautifully
I don't.
throughout the
Oh my
entire
God.
season. He did. And let me explain why. Let me explain. Because he was calm, he was collected in his interaction with Melody. He understood that there was going to be questions on the other side, and people were going to automatically treat him as if he was guilty before even knowing all the facts. But he still accepted the questions. He interacted with the questions. And on top of that, folks, Maurice attended the reunion and he was willing to receive even more questions, unlike Karen, who people are not acknowledging the fact that is the big difference between Karen and Maurice.
But
The
can we talk about the
accountability.
difference even more? So I'm still trying to figure out what happened between 4 a.m. and 12 with Maurice.
Yeah, something with the buttermilk ain't clean.
Kimmy was telling Carlos King and being very adamant, and they both were, that Carlos King's line of question was BS. And the way that they kind of were going back and forth with Carlos, I've never seen anyone like really go back and forth with Andy and be like, this is BS, this
Yeah.
is ridiculous in one of these. And I think putting the narrative that Melody isn't happy, now she's not in her relationship, and she needs Martel, putting that implication out, and also putting out that, trying to legally intimidate the elderly content creators, several content creators, and trying to silence people and trying to send them unauthorized subpoenas.
That's not owning stuff.
Allegedly.
That's not owning stuff.
Well, that was in the court case. It was unauthorized.
That's what I'm saying. It's not. He's not owning it. He's not owning.
Unauthorized subpoenas.
That's what I'm saying. He's not owning. If you wouldn't threaten people, if you were owning the situation,
But-
that's what I'm backing your point. I'm backing your point.
Do we know he did this for sure?
Yes, this is on. This
Just want
is
to make
online.
sure.
And we also see Maurice not really telling the truth a lot. We see him in videos saying that he has loads of court cases as a practicing attorney in and out of Alabama, but we find out from this court case that he's never tried a case in Alabama, and he doesn't even have a license to practice.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Can you say it one more time?
But he hasn't tried a case. He's changed his name. Is he even a lawyer?
He does have a license for Alabama, and he's saying he has cases there, but there's no records of any cases that he has.
Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. I think that for Maurice to hear allegations about his profession, to hear allegations about his DUI case, he has every right, because what we're talking about are allegations. He has every right to go the distance legally with any content creator, regardless of the age. I don't think the age has anything to do with it. You mentioned how she's an elderly woman. If an elderly woman, a young woman, a middle-aged woman, a middle-aged person
She's 90, Mitch.
it's a middle-aged person, older woman, whoever it is,
She got 2 seconds left.
is putting out inaccurate information. The age does not matter to the person. If someone is defaming character, Maurice's character, he has every right to go the distance legally. And I don't think the age has anything to do with it. You're saying that she's over 90. So what? She was, in his view, she was putting out information that was inaccurate about his case, about his profession, about drug use.
She was just reporting on it. She's a blogger. She wasn't the first one to do it. She wasn't the first one to do it. So then sue every single person who's doing it. Not the 90-year-old who can't defend themselves. That's pointed.
It's one thing.
The 90-year-old that can't defend herself, but the 90-year-old that can make allegations. We got to be responsible for our words and take responsibility.
Can I respond to you?
And accountability.
Can I respond to you? Let's talk about accountability.
Yes.
Because Maurice didn't just Maurice didn't just sue someone. Maurice didn't just sue someone, but he sent unauthorized subpoenas to get access to their personal information, to which he himself took accountability in the court case and characterized that as fictitious. So there is that.
In what state?
He's abusing the legal. That's Alabama. He's abusing the legal system. He is. And
What
he
state
sent
was
us
it though?
unauthorized subpoenas. It's she hadn't even been served yet for him to send a subpoena. That's
What
wrong.
Victor's
what
got the
state was
tea.
it though?
Alabama.
Oh, I love it. You're gonna have to say it one more time before you leave.
Alabama. It was in Alabama.
Uh,
I loved it.
where is it? Where is it? Where is
Oh,
it,
she said
Victor?
Alabama.
Alabama.
Sorry, I know that was off topic, but I kept hearing it. It was
Eric,
incredible.
you're so crazy. But yeah, it's unauthorized
Yeah.
legal documents to intimidate her.
The point that I'm making about is that the 90-year-old woman, like, she's not the only blogger reporting on it. So why are we
Right.
going after her? That's my point. You're
I
going
see what
after her
you're
because you
saying.
have power. It's like you go after a bigger blogger station that can
Kind of like when
take you on.
it's
Like,
kind of like when Zeus
But the
Network came
question,
after me,
if I'm
Mitch.
challenging you, which blogger made the allegation separate from the 90-year-old woman? I think that I don't know of the other blogger that you're referring to that made that same allegation. I don't know who that is. I think Maurice was looking
was that?
squarely
Am I
at this
crazy? Was it
woman.
not everywhere at that time?
I think,
I
yeah.
remember
But
it and like multiple blogs. It wasn't just one. All these
you don't
allegations when
treat
he got his DUI, when they were talking about his license. It wasn't just one blogger. That's my point. There was
But
multiple.
But the moral is you don't treat an allegation as true, and that is the issue with this 90-year-old woman is she treated an allegation as being true.
well, allegedly, according to the case,
Allegedly.
allegedly, apparently he was used to be Maurice Rasheen Scott, and allegedly, according to a source in the FBI and CIA, he was connected to that. He tried to get it expunged, this previous name, which had 29 criminal arrests behind it. So that's
What?
allegedly.
But for what? I see. I
Wait.
don't judge someone on their criminal past
But
because
even if he
Yeah.
did
people are
have
nasty.
29 criminal, how are you even allowed to be an attorney if you have 29
Because
criminal?
he got it expunged.
That
Did he
many?
get? Wait, did he get pardoned?
I mean,
Sorry?
what?
Did he get pardoned? Because I don't remember reading that he got pardoned for that.
That's just what they had. That's what the attorney, one of the defense attorneys, they said they have a connection allegedly.
Well, it's also a difference between being charged and being convicted. Because you can be charged. There's a bunch of lawyers that are
Right.
charged with things that are not convicted.
It
So
was
that's
arrest.
not really.
Arrest. It was arrest. It wasn't a
Yeah.
charge. It was arrest. But my point is, from him saying that he's done lots of cases in and out of Alabama. He only has a license in Alabama. There's not a record of any case he's represented in anyone in Alabama. With that not being true and those kind of contrasts, and also with the fact that he is, in his own words, being fictitious, he is sending unauthorized subpoenas, it seems to me to be a bit of duplicity there and also abuse of that legal training and information that he has. And
Ooh, not abuse.
to me, I think that is why he is being so defensive. You're only this defensive with people if you have something to hide. And even though that person was talking about allegations, lots of people have spoken about allegations. You're right, Eric. This was everywhere. We saw.
It wasn't. That was why I was confused on why it was like everybody was talking about this. It wasn't, and that's why I felt pointed. That's why I didn't like it. It's like you're going after a 90-year-old woman who's just trying to have some fun and be a part of the conversation, and now you want to go and attack them. And I'm like, you could have attacked anybody. How about you go for the people who have money?
The subpoena, her getting notifications, she was getting notifications from Google from saying that people were trying to access her personal information. At 90 years old, that's very distressing, and it's wrong.
That's ridiculous. I don't get it.
It's
I don't get the sympathy. I don't understand the sympathy.
Because he did something.
I really don't. I don't understand this. I'm trying to understand the sympathy for a person that is putting out inaccurate information about someone's reputation. Is that treating it as an allegation? Is that reporting on it correctly?
She did say
and I think that, and I think that's the difference.
She did allegedly in the video when she did it. So she did treat it as an allegation.
When I watched, she did not treat this as an allegation. She
What
did
did she
not.
say? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Do y'all know what she said?
She talked about the drugs if it was true. And I think that he has every right. Every right, Maurice has every right.
Okay, well, Mitch, it's not about right. It's not about whether he has the legal. Yeah, he wants to do it fine. I think that's a crappy thing to do.
It's a crappy thing to treat an allegation as true.
No,
You can't
girl,
send,
mama,
you
no,
can't send
no, no.
unauthorized subpoenas. That's not legally fair. He didn't do it the correct way. That's the point. He sent it. It was
He did exactly what
unauthorized.
Jen Shaw did. He took
It was
advantage of an elderly
fictitious.
person
Yeah.
because he had more knowledge about a situation.
I just see it differently. And I think that
But
people
he
have
didn't
to
do
be
it the correct
accountable
way.
for
He
their
didn't do the
words,
correct way.
accountable for what they choose to say. Because as I say, you can't just say whatever you want and then decide you want to take it back and scale it back. You just can't do that.
The woman
Girl,
in
who
her
am I speaking
90s.
to right now?
You're speaking to Mitch from
Okay,
Brocha.
okay, because I don't know. We're gonna have to get a Mitch and a Mitchell because I feel like they're two
Oh,
different people
so am I
sometimes.
Mitch or
Mitch and
Mitchell right now?
I don't know. You tell me,
Oh
mama, because
Lord.
7 seconds ago was a very different story from Mr. Reed. So I have no
Oh Lord.
idea where you're coming from.
Oh Lord.
You have more sympathy for Mr. Reed than a 9-year-old woman. I don't no entiendo. Yo no entiendo eso.
Oh,
Girl, I
I
just
don't
got
get
I don't
that.
red.
understand either.
I just
I
got
don't
red.
understand.
I did. I
Domino,
said. I'm sorry, I didn't fix my hat.
domino,
But
domino.
bros, I do think that
Yeah,
Maurice has done a better job at handling his DUI case than Karen has on the show. She has avoided accountability
I agree with
until she
that.
couldn't
I agree
because she
too.
until she could not anymore.
And she still didn't really even take accountability. I'm telling you, I agree with
No,
you in that. She did not take
that
accountability.
performative as scene at the end, and
And
scene.
I know you'll do me proud with your dresses. Girl, ain't about you. You go to jail. What are you talking about right now? Perspective.
I
yeah,
just feel sympathy.
and I think you, Victor, you mentioned Melody. I think that in that scene with Melody that you're referring to, when Melody was challenging him on his DUI, because Maurice is accepting the challenge. Maurice is accepting the conversation. And in that conversation, which you didn't include in what you were saying earlier, is Maurice apologized to Melody. They were able to, because accountability inspires accountability. And Maurice was able to be accountable for how he has laughed and has not been
But you have
as
to admit, he said what he said.
understanding to Melody's issues and Melody's situation. And Melody gave him apology back. So I think those moments have to be discussed too.
I think for Maurice to say at the reunion that Melody should never have challenged him in the first place. Melody's challenging him because Melody lost her grandmother to someone who was driving under the influence. I do think she had a reason to challenge him, and he acted very defensively. And then at the reunion, rather than from where the apology was, he went back to the fact that, well, you should never brought it up. So there was a place of understanding, and then he was back on the train of, why did you bring it up? So he apologized, and he accepted why she said what she said, and then he flipped the script, and it was a different story at the reunion.
It's a tough position when you're in a position to where you are
Where you're suing
being
the
asked
elderly,
these
I think.
questions, and when you defend yourself, of course people are going to call you defensive. Maurice throughout the season was not defensive to me. I think he was calm. I think he was collected throughout the season when handling the questions about his DUI. And I think that he deserves the credit. Everyone
I
looking in, I
don't.
think that Maurice deserves the credit for the
Give him
fact
his flowers, mama. Give him his
that he was
flowers.
able to attend the reunion, unlike Karen. Karen
He
did
is,
not want to face
but listen, he
accountability.
is
I don't
Maurice
supposed
think
was willing
anybody's
to face it.
See, the thing is, Mitch, I don't think anybody's arguing with you on that fact. I'm not disagreeing with the fact that Karen should have faced the music too, and I do appreciate that he did show up.
I,
But,
I just don't think it was right.
but,
Yeah. I don't think it was right for him to deflect onto Melody, especially as someone who was a recovering victim. She just recovered as from revenge and this emotionally
Oh, let's not
abusive
go there.
corn,
relationship.
Melody, please.
corn.
Revenge
Porn.
revenge
Yeah.
revenge. But no, I'm not done. But it's that on top of the
Okay.
fact that he put this narrative that she wasn't happy, that was a deflection, and now you're suing an elderly woman, someone in their 90s. Like, I really just think that's deplorable. And I
Right.
think that's a
But
terrible thing to do.
one thing that really stuck out to me was in Karen's testimony, she mentioned a man named Kevin who lost all of his function. And she asked God why it was Kevin and not her.
You
Karen says that
crazy.
Karen says that God told
Not the
her
preacher voice,
that
Mitch.
the reason that Karen first survived her DUI drunk driving is because she has a unique optical lens to share. And I think
Oh,
that is incredibly insensitive to, for
agreed.
instance, Kevin, that are saying that he doesn't have a unique optical lens. I think that we have seen Karen over and over and over again evade accountability and blaming her actions on antidepressants. Like, I understand. Well, I don't want to say that because it's not true.
I
I
know.
hear her
I
talking
think she
about
was right about
depression.
that,
I
though.
can
I
hear
think
it.
that she was right about that. I think she was probably mixing her antidepressants with alcohol, which is going to create a very dangerous, as we can
Yeah,
see,
that
situation.
exactly.
I think you're spot on with that. I don't think that there's anything wrong. I think she said it out of her mouth. I mean, I think that
But
I
I
don't.
believe people are just looking for her to say, "I messed up. I'm taking accountability.
It was
That's it."
my fault, and that's
Right. They don't
it.
want to. They don't want to hear about the antidepressants, the alcohol.
Yes,
Because
yes.
at the end of the day, we could be sitting here talking about the person that's 6 feet under because of her. If it,
It
or
hadn't
it could
gone
have been
that
her.
way. But it's the fact that there was four of them. Four. You're a grown woman. First
Yes.
time, I will give you being stupid. I still don't excuse it, but like I will have a little bit more sympathy for you. But two, three, four,
Oh,
four.
and can we just make this clear? The first
Jamie.
three were in the span of 6 years, from
Yep.
2006 to
2011.
2011. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was shocking to me too. Because I'm like, okay, maybe you might get a little bit of grace if they were 10, 15 years apart. Not, I don't know about that still. But 6 years, three, one every other year, Karen? Yeah, time for you to sit
It just
down,
doesn't
Mom.
make sense. You cannot sell me that your husband is the Black Bill Gates and you can't afford a driver to get you to your parties.
Yeah, she got to sit
It's
down for a
not.
little while.
We need you to take a few seats. Enjoy that jumpsuit. Make it look cute. Give us some good little post stops in your little like recreation center. But you need to own this one because
Yeah.
that was a crazy scene. We joke about it and stuff, but when you look, the car was on fire. She kept trying to get back in it. That's if that was my mother, you know what I mean, or my aunt or my cousin. That must have been terrifying to see.
Yeah,
Do you know
I
what
think
I
about
mean?
Raven, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like,
And
ugh.
and even Ray, like your wife, and you're trying to calm her down, you're dealing with the police, and she just doesn't. She seems so flippant about it, and
She's
I
This
not
is
think that's
much
trusting.
what
more
I don't
serious.
like.
Eric is so right. This is so much more serious than the way people are discussing it because Karen is simplifying this to glasses of wine
Yes,
when
exactly,
there
exactly.
are beer cans in her car. This is serious. Karen has an issue, and I think that
She couldn't look the camera in the face. Like
it's
she
not
was.
disloyal. It's not disloyal to tell the truth. And
Yeah,
what
I
really
agree.
hurts me is that honesty, dealing with Karen, honesty comes with consequence. And
Well, look
that
at
is
Maurice. Look at Maurice suing an elderly woman. It's the same situation, but you think that's justified?
allegations dealing with Maurice.
Oh,
He has every
oh,
right to
oh.
approach someone legally
But he's
when
not.
they're
He's
treating an
doing it
allegation as true.
fictitiously, fictitiously,
When they're
unauthorized
treating an
subpoenas.
allegation as true, I fully support
I don't. He's
Maurice
sending
in
on a.
that.
You in suing the elder. Would you sue
And I
the
don't think
elderly?
age matters
Would you? So you
in
would
this
sue a woman in
case.
her 90s? Would you
No,
actually
I
sue a
don't think it
woman in her
matters.
90s?
I don't
You
think
would
age
sue a
matters when
woman in her 90s.
we're talking about
You would
wrong,
do
we're
it.
talking about right.
I'm
I don't
asking
think
if you
age
would do it.
matters. We don't treat someone differently legally
Well, he's
and
not doing it the legal way. He
because
did
of
it
their
the
age.
unauthorized subpoena to intimidate her. He didn't even do it the proper legal way to bring her distress, to intimidate her. I think it was an abuse of
I
his
think that
legal
there's
power.
an elderly like 70, 75, and then there's 90, Mitch. 90.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful, and I respect the opinions of the bros on Bro Chat. I don't care about I don't care about any of that. I don't care about it, and I don't agree with it. I don't think that someone's age exempts them from being held
But can you
accountable
say,
for
but can
putting
you,
out false
but
information.
can you
I
admit that
don't
him
think
sending,
so.
him not even doing it the right way, him doing unauthorized subpoenas, in his own words, being fictitious, that's wrong. You can admit that, right? He didn't even go the proper legal route. You can admit that's wrong, right?
I'm not going to answer that.
Okay.
But I respect the point of view of the bros of Bro Chat. But I do think that it's important to have true friends True friends that are going to be honest with you and will be faithful to you. And there are not fair weather friends who will abandon you when you're having a tough time. And that faithful friend is Dr. Wendy. And Karen treated Dr. Wendy terribly at this reunion. That's why I said that being honest, being too honest, it comes with consequence. And I think
Look at
it's
what happened
so
with
incredibly
Melody. Look at how
wrong.
Maurice responded.
Why are we talking about Melody?
Because what about Maurice? I feel like you need to hold Maurice accountable.
Why? I need to hold someone accountable who has not been convicted for their DUI
You're trying
case.
to legally intimidate and being fictitious in his own words and not doing it the right way with an elderly woman. I think you need to hold him
I
accountable.
think that
That's
when it
wrong.
comes to a man whose case, Maurice's case was dismissed, he should not be treated the same as Karen, who's going to be serving a 1-year prison sentence.
I'm
I don't
thinking
think he
Okay.
should be
it's an
treated the
elderly
same.
woman.
And the same type of conversation about accountability for Maurice as we talk about Karen.
Yeah,
I
No, I
Maurice,
agree
who
with that.
attended
I
the
don't think.
reunion and accepted questions.
he gets a little
You
more
think that
grace
he
for
needs
me.
more
But
accountability?
to sue people when you don't like what they're saying and who are content creators and who are vulnerable people, elderly people are classed as vulnerable. I think that's wrong. And you need accountability to, instead of letting people say what they say, you're trying to legally intimidate people. I think you should be held accountable because that's a misuse of
Power.
your
Power.
Position,
license.
power. Yep.
Power. You have knowledge. Knowledge is power.
We disagree. That's what we do on Bro Chat. We see it differently, but we remain our brotherhood. We remain friends, and we have
I
these
like these
spirited
kids.
debates. Everyone looking in. Remember, Bro Chat is going to have a guest co-host rotation, and I want to know from you, out of the guest co-hosts that you meet, the new faces that you meet, who do you think will be the best fit to join the Bro Chat debate panel? The guest co-host rotation is starting soon, and these new faces are going to be introduced sooner than you think. Make sure that you like this video and let us know, what do you want the bros of Bro Chat to debate next? We'll see you again next time.